Imagine, it's a Tuesday morning in late 2026. You wake up in your suburban home. The coffee machine is buzzing. The sun is hitting the kitchen table, and for a moment, everything feels normal. You reach for your smartphone, that digital tether we all carry, to check your bank balance. Maybe you're planning to pay the mortgage or just checking if your paycheck cleared. But instead of the familiar blue interface, there's a black screen with a government seal. System maintenance, national currency transition in progress. You try your credit card at the local gas station. Declined. You go to the ATM. It's wrapped in out-of-service tape. Suddenly, that normal Tuesday feels like the beginning of a nightmare. You turn on the news, and the anchor, looking more pale than usual, announces that the U.S. Treasury, in coordination with the Federal Reserve, has declared a monetary holiday due to what they call unprecedented global liquidity pressures. The dollar as you know it is being upgraded to a central bank digital currency. The $20,000 you worked overtime for, the $100,000 sitting in your 401k, it's not gone. Not exactly, but it's locked. And when it's unlocked, it won't be the same money. This isn't just a glitch. This is the moment the math finally caught up with the magic. You see, for decades, America has been living on a promise. A promise that we could print money forever, export our inflation to the rest of the world, and never have to pay the bill. But in 2026, the bill has finally arrived at your doorstep. You might think I'm being an alarmist. You might think the US is too big to fail. But history is a graveyard of too big to fail empires. From Rome to the British pound, every superpower eventually hits a wall. And that wall is built of one thing: unpayable debt. Let's talk about the numbers. Because numbers don't have an agenda. They don't care about political parties or economic theories. They just exist. Right now, global debt has surged past $315 trillion. To the average person, that number is so large it's meaningless. So let's break it down into something human. If you spent $1 every single second, it would take you 31,700 years to reach 1 trillion. Now, multiply that by 315. We are talking about a mountain of debt that spans nearly 10 million years of human spending. It is, quite literally, a mathematical impossibility to ever pay this back. In my previous deep dive, The Math of Being Broke, we looked at how the poor are trapped by the boots theory, buying cheap boots that break, ending up spending more than the rich man who buys one good pair. Today, the entire United States is wearing those cheap boots. We've been fixing our economic problems by borrowing more money to pay the interest on the money we already borrowed. It's a global Ponzi scheme, and we are the ones at the bottom of the pyramid. For years, we've relied on the two-income trap. Remember the 1950s? A single income could buy a house, a car, and raise 3 kids. Today, a dual-income household, both parents working 50 hours a week, is often one medical bill away from bankruptcy. Why? Because the cost of being has been artificially inflated by the very system meant to protect it. The Federal Reserve has a dual mandate: stable prices and maximum employment. But since the Fed was created in 1913, the US dollar has lost over 96% of its purchasing power. They haven't stabilized prices. They've managed the slow-motion theft of your labor. Every time they inject liquidity, a fancy term for printing money, they are diluting your life's work. Have you ever wondered why? When the government prints stimulus money, the stock market hits record highs while your grocery bill becomes unbearable? There's a name for this. It's called the Cantillon effect. Named after an 18th century economist, it describes a very simple, very cruel reality. The person closest to the printing press wins. When the Fed creates new money, it doesn't just appear in your bank account. It goes to the big banks first. It goes to government contractors. It goes to the ultra-wealthy elites. They get to spend that fresh money while prices are still at their old levels. They buy up real estate. They buy up tech stocks. They buy up the world. By the time that money trickles down to you, in the form of a 3% raise or a small stimulus check, the prices of eggs, gas, and rent have already skyrocketed to absorb that new supply. You are receiving the leftover value. You are playing a game of musical chairs where the elites get to pick their seats before the music even starts. This is why the wealth gap isn't a glitch. It's a feature. In 2026, as we approach the super crisis, this effect will reach its peak. The crossover point, that goal we all have where our passive income finally exceeds our expenses, is being pushed further and further away. For many Americans, that point is no longer a dream. It's a mirage. Think about the cost of being broke in America today. You pay more for credit because your score is low. You pay more for insurance because you live in a high-risk zip code. You pay more for food because you don't have the time or money to buy in bulk. Now, imagine a world where the government can program your money to ensure you keep spending, never saving. This brings us to the Great Reset. When a system is this bloated, it doesn't just deflate. It has to be replaced. And the replacement they have prepared for us is called CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. Now, don't let them fool you with marketing. They will tell you it's convenient. They will tell you it's instant. They will tell you it will bank the unbanked. But a CBDC is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is decentralized, permissionless, and private. A CBDC is centralized, programmable, and total surveillance. Imagine your money having an expiration date. Spend your $2,000 by the end of the month, or it vanishes. Why would they do this? To force you to spend, to keep the dying engine of the economy turning, even if it means you can never build savings again. Imagine behavioral control. Maybe you've bought too much red meat this month, and your carbon footprint is too high. You go to the grocery store, you scan your digital wallet, and access denied. Not because you don't have the money, but because the government has decided you've had enough. This isn't a conspiracy theory. The technology is already built. The infrastructure is being tested as we speak. This is the ultimate two-income trap, evolved into a digital cage. In the old days, they needed taxes to take your money. In the new world, they just need to change a line of code. This is the Great Reset. It's the process of clearing the world's unpayable debts by devaluing the currency of the masses and moving everyone into a system of programmable poverty. If you want to know what's really happening, stop listening to the talking heads on the news. Watch the hands, not the lips. In the last 24 months, we have seen a massive, quiet exodus of smart money. Central banks, while they tell you gold is a relic, are hoarding physical gold at record-breaking speeds. They are selling their US treasuries and buying bars of yellow metal. They know the paper is about to burn. Why did Jeff Bezos sell $8.5 billion in Amazon stock? Why did Mark Zuckerberg offload nearly $500 million in Meta shares? Why is Warren Buffett sitting on a cash pile of nearly $160 billion, refusing to buy anything at these record highs? Bill Gates isn't buying tech companies. He's buying hundreds of thousands of acres of American farmland. Why? Because you can't print more soil. You can't devalue the need for corn, wheat, and water. The elites are building their lifeboats. They are moving out of paper assets, stocks, bonds, cash, and into real assets, land, energy, gold. They are getting ready for the 2026 default. They are ensuring that when the reset button is pushed, they own the things that actually matter, while the rest of us are left holding digital coupons. This is the crossover point in reverse. They are ensuring their wealth is disconnected from the system they are about to collapse. I know. This feels heavy. It feels like the walls are closing in. But remember, knowledge is the only debt-proof asset. Every major crisis in history has been a transfer of wealth. Money doesn't just disappear. It moves from the hands of the unaware to the hands of the prepared. If you know the script of the 2026 crisis, you can do more than just survive. You can thrive. How do you exit the zero? How do you protect your family from the math of being broke? First, diversify into reality. If your entire net worth is just numbers on a screen, you are at risk. Consider physical gold and silver, the only money that has never failed in 5,000 years. Look into cash-flowing assets, things that people will always need, regardless of what the currency is. Second, adopt the crossover mindset. Stop thinking in dollars and start thinking in purchasing power. A house in 1970 cost about 100 ounces of gold. Today, that same house still costs about 100 ounces of gold. The house didn't get more expensive. The dollar just got weaker. Protect your power. Third, the ultimate asset is you. In a world of programmable money and digital control, your skills, your network, and your ability to produce value outside the system are your greatest weapons. They can't reset your ability to fix a machine, to lead a team, or to solve a problem. The 2026 super crisis is coming. The sirens are already faint in the distance. You can either be the one standing in the ATM line, wondering what happened, or you can be the one who saw it coming and built their own Noah's Arkansas. The cost of being is going up. Make sure you've invested in the only thing that matters, the truth. Stay cold-headed. Keep your heart warm. And most importantly, stay awake. I'm Alex, and this is The Cost of Being. Subscribe for more deep dives into the matrix of money. See you in the next one.